I think, as he gets up there, he wants to surf more, and he kind of wants to pass the reins on. So, hopefully, there's someone out there who will have that charisma and will have that third-party know-how to, take this country back for us. And but it starts with all of us. It doesn't take one person. You can't put your faith in just one person.
Tyrel, I want to hold you 5 minutes in the next hour if you can. So we have two short segments to be able to take calls. You can do that, can't you?
Of course.
Okay, great. We're going to come back and go to Noel, Mark, Rose, Ron, Tim, and others for Tyrel Ventura specifically on the show, or Jesse Ventura or on Tyrel. But I just want to say this here as we go to break. Studying the Founding Fathers, they weren't perfect, they were men, but they had good hearts, and they were intelligent, and they truly wanted liberty. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, those are icons, those are my idols. And really getting to know your dad and studying now, in hindsight, what he's done in his life, and knowing that he doesn't want to be president. He doesn't want the power. He doesn't want to have the attention and be at all the big dinners. He just wants freedom. That's just like George Washington, who, turned in his command. They wanted him to be king. He said no. And then they basically drafted him to run for president. And all he wanted to do was get back to Mount Vernon. He wanted to leave New York and go back to where Washington, D.C. is today, his farm. And so that's exactly why we need your dad to run for president, because I've genuinely looked into his eyes. He doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to be around all that corrupt slime, and he just wants to be a common person. But then he wants to run because he knows he wants to put real issues out. Imagine all these scumbag politicians. They would kill their children to be president, and that's why we don't want them to be president. Ron Paul doesn't want to run for president. I've talked to him privately. He wants to, but he fights tirelessly because of duty. Your dad doesn't want to be president, but he does want to stop the New World Order.
Yes, of course. Completely. You couldn't have said it best. Couldn't have said it any better. That's, he just wants to continue his fight and to open people's minds up and to get people thinking of third party. Don't fall into the left or the right. Be your own person. Be an independent thinker. Study the Founding Fathers. Learn what they created here in this great, great country we have. And then don't let it fall into the hands of the ruthless and the corrupt.
Well, your dad really does, with all of his colorful history and all the great things he's done as a trailblazer, the fact that he doesn't want power, the fact that he just wants to be on a lonely seashore by himself reading books, that's why he needs to be president, or somebody like Ron Paul, instead of Sarah Palin and the Democrats and all these painted trollops and trumpets who want power. That's the people we don't want in government. We've got this segment, the next, with Tyrel Ventura, and I'm going to your calls. But, Tyrel, during the break, you made a statement that was not conclusive, but closer to conclusive. So finish up that statement about your dad.
Well, essentially, just say this, you asked me, is he going to run for president in 2012 and things like that. And I say, right now, I would say I'm probably 85% sure that he's not going to run for president. However, his life has been so dynamic and strange that, you never can say never with him. So, who knows? If you'd have told me that we'd have the conspiracy theory show on and we'd be getting great ratings a year ago, I'd have been like, oh, no way they'd ever put it on, but they did. If you'd told me he was going to run for governor and win, I'd have said no way, but he did. So you never know. You never know with him. But as of right now, doesn't look like he's running. But never say never.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Jesse wants to ride off into the sunset with his TV show and tell the younger generation, take your country back. But he might still run for president. Noel in Ohio, you're on the air with Tyrel Ventura.
Alex, Tyrel, pleasure to talk to you. A little nervous, sorry. But I've been reading the Guerrilla News Network's book, True Lies, and you're mentioned in it. And I thought it would be a good idea for maybe second season show to do a show on the depleted uranium that we're giving the troops as ammunition.
That is a great subject because the Army's own manuals admit it's Tyrel.
No, that's a fantastic subject. I just saw a piece about that the other day that was devastating. What's happening over there from using those in weaponry and things like that. Why are we? There's no reason for us to use depleted uranium in weapons.
Well, it's a toxic waste, just like fluoride's a toxic waste, so they put it in the water. It's a toxic waste from spent fuel rods at nuke plants, so they put it into weaponry. When the Army's own manuals in the 80s said this will kill you deader than a hammer if you breathe it, now they say, oh, no, it's good for you.
No, it's just typical. It's, you know what it is. It's the corporation trying to get rid of its toxic waste, so they figure, we can sell it to the military. They have good use for it.
And then they always wrap themselves in the flag, but they could really care less about these troops.
Oh, of course not. They don't care. No, it's sad when you see these young kids going over there, my generation and younger, going over to Iraq on their, fourth, fifth, sixth tour now, if not eighth, being used completely as corporate pawns. It's terrible.
Noel, anything else? Noel's gone. Mark in Oregon, quickly, go ahead.
Morning, Alex and Tyrel. I want to congratulate you both on your very successful expose of evil here and the dark side. I'd like to make a quick comment and ask a question. I think your dad, Tyrel, and Ron Paul interchangeably on the ticket. I don't know which would be vice president or president, but that would certainly gather in a lot of people between the independent type of voter as well as the Republican voter, and perhaps quite a few Democrats. Something to think about. At any rate, I wanted to ask you, Tyrel, do you have any knowledge of Turner Broadcasting, Ted Turner's conglomerate, actually having ownership or a large interest in the True TV network? I'd heard a guess.
I don't have knowledge of that. I mean, I know that there's...
Yeah, he doesn't have a controlling interest. He's now out of the decision-making process in those companies.
Obviously, I think it's just called Turner Broadcasting just because that's the name of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's been out of decision-making process for 5-6 years. But it doesn't matter. It's globalist globalists still run it. That's a big question. Why was this allowed on TV? Because they can't hide the truth any longer. I have thought long and hard about why this show was allowed on air, how the show is from our perspective and proves the government's doing all this evil stuff, because that's what Ventura found, and why is it on air? They know they've got to mix a little bit of this in. They can't just fully ignore it. It's gotten too big. Too many people know, so they put it on True TV. And also they know it's very popular, so they'll make money. They think so little of you, it's just right out in the open. But I think they've miscalculated. It's also titrating the dose. It's like people that are around cobras. They take small amounts of the venom until they get immune to it. And the elite are slowly, kind of like they've admitted world government now. But I think they've miscalculated. I mean, it's hurting them worse to ignore it all, because then people say, well, why are they hiding it? I think they're just trying to put it right out in the open. Tyrel, you think that's a good assessment?
Oh, I think it's that, and also, I think that, they kind of feel that, we'll let them talk about this and have this little corner, and they're never going to be a threat to us. But the more people are talking about it, the more people are exposed to the truth, that will get that ball rolling and get us, take our liberty back, take our country back, and stop programs like, Manchurian candidate programs, stop being fleeced for our money and find out what the government has as plans, as backup plans in case of a catastrophe on an epic scale. How is it going to save its people? Ask questions of your government. That's the
absolutely. I'm going to try to
fundamental thing that we have.
Absolutely. I'm going to try to jam in some quick calls. Quick question for Tyrel Ventura. Rose in Montana, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex and Tyrel, first-time caller. Alex, I want to thank you very much, because without your tireless efforts, I don't think any of this would be possible. And for the first time in 3 years since I became awake, I'm starting to feel hopeful, because, you just keep pummeling.
Exactly. We now are having victory. Look at Copenhagen, setting up world government going down in flames. We're having victory on every level. Tyrel?
I agree. Like I said, the more people talking about it, the more programs like Alex is listening to, shows like our watched, and the more you get that piece of truth out there and let people hang on to it, or at least just a different opinion. I mean, even if you don't believe anything that we're saying, at least just listen so you have different opinions in your life. Momentum
is shifting towards liberty. Freedom is on the rise. Tyranny's been rising for a long time. Now liberty is rising.
thank you very much for that, because without your tireless efforts and those who have followed you, this would not be possible. And yesterday was the first day that I felt really hopeful when, your program on what was going on with TARP and AIG and European media bursting loose on H1N1. Okay, and I thank you so much, because I don't think True TV would be possible without your work.
That's right. The head of the EU Health Council has said it was all a fraud, dangerous vaccine to make money. Again, we've been purely vindicated. Tyrel, so much is coming out now. The government's being just absolutely discredited.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's you can find the truth there. I mean, every news article they put out, illustrating their end or what they want you to believe, you can find an alternate viewpoint. And like I said, it's even if you don't believe every alternate viewpoint you come across, you have to leave yourself open. It shouldn't just be a right or left debate. You can't just be spoon-fed your whole life. It's okay to be a free thinker, even if you're proven wrong.